Start your day the joyful way. It's your weekday morning talk show inviting you to start your day with a triple shot of good vibes. And now here's your host, the queen of joy herself, Jessica Dugas. Good Tuesday morning, everybody. I almost dragged that out. Why? Because I watched Good Morning Vietnam the other day with Robin Williams. If you guys haven't seen that movie, it's an older movie, but it's fantastic. And, you know, Robin Williams gets on that microphone and he says, "Good morning, Vietnam," you know, and the whole deal. It was epic, movie and performance by Robin Williams. And once you watch that, if you have a show or a podcast or something of your own, you are tempted to start every show that way. And so I almost did. I almost came on and did that this morning. I hope you guys are doing well today. Listen, if you're joining us live or on the replay, I'd love for you to head over to the comment section, say hello, say good morning. Let us know what's bringing you joy today. I'm excited to continue our summer reading series coming up. We have Brian K. Wright on the show this morning, which you guys might remember he was on the Breakthrough Show a while back. I think maybe season 4, if I remember correctly. I should have written it. Listen, after we're in season 6 of that show, you guys. I barely know what my name is anymore. I've got to have take notes religiously over here, but I'm really excited to have him here this morning. He's not only an author, so of course fits right in with our summer reading series, but he also helps you to write your book, which I'm really excited to talk to him and get his perspective on that, because I know many of you that watch the show have talked to me about, I want to write a book. So this is going to be great for you. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We're celebrating a lot over here today. As I mentioned yesterday, this is the end of our birthday season in our house. First birthday season. We have 2. You know, we have one at the beginning of the year, one at the end. Our 2 youngest kids, Jazzy and Leah, share a birthday. You know, in a family of 8, it was bound to happen. Eventually, you only have so many days in a month, and I'm excited. It's their birthday today. Jaslyn is 8, Leah is 6, and it's going to be a fun day. We're going to take them swimming. I always do kind of when I get up in the morning, I go put their gifts and their cards and stuff on the fireplace. And so they got up, and Leah came running in this morning when I was prepping for the show. And she said, "Mama, I saw my gifts out there." And she was all excited. So I'll be heading off after the show, making them breakfast. We'll do the swimming thing, gifts and all that stuff later. So we're excited about that. And, you know, it's interesting because, I remember the experiences with both of them like it was yesterday when they were born. And, we were opening Jaslyn's gifts. Leah was like 2.5 weeks late. I feel like she was like, "There's going to be a party on the 21st, so I'll just wait till then." Like, that's what's going to happen. So I remember opening gifts with Jaslyn early in the morning on her 2nd birthday and going, something doesn't feel quite right here. And Leah was born not long after. She was born very, very quickly. So I was thankful for that. Let me tell you, it was a full circle moment because the birth with Jaslyn was, it was tough. It was really, really tough. So it was a beautiful moment with Leah. She was easy peasy, out quickly. Jaslyn, I was so worried. I remember being in labor and being like, Jaslyn's going to be like, what's she gonna like she can't have a day of her own. You know what I mean? Like, I was worried about that genuinely. But Jaslyn's always been from the get-go so wonderful about, this is our day. And Leah was my gift. She's so sweet. And Leah, the youngest is the boss. And that's just the way it is. Okay. People, are you the boss of who wears the pants in the family? They'll ask Phil and I it's Leah. That's it. And she comes in the other day and she's crying, just complete tears. And she says, "Mama, I need my own day. I need my own day." I'm like, "You're the one that came and intruded on Jaslyn's day. What are you talking?" But anyway, she just had that moment. But then this morning she gets up and she's like, "It's wonderful." And is excited about the day. So she had her moment, but it's very, very rare. They're usually both super sweet about sharing the day. So that was great. What else is bringing me joy today? So we had, you guys know how I am with the music. And if you missed Friday's show and the Barry Manilow medley I did in honor of his birthday, you need to go back and look at that, okay? But I've been on a kick ever since listening to the Barry Manilow. I'm living my best life over here, people. Okay, don't say a word. And so I've been on, and then I got on a kick last night with Air Supply. And I had my headphones on. I was doing some work and I cranked the music all the way up in my head, like could not hear, could not see, paying attention to anything else around me. And the music's blasting and I'm just belting it out. Okay. My husband, because I have my screen up behind me here. My husband was behind the screen. I had no idea. And ne- next thing you know, I'm singing, making love out of nothing at all. And I hear from behind me, making love. And I'm like, what is that? What is happening here? And he was literally throughout the whole house singing that little that little part behind. And we just had this whole moment. And so I called the kids down and I said, Dad and I have a performance for you. And we did the whole song for the kids too. Sometimes, even though I've always loved to sing and I was trained, in music and all of that, I was taught to, you prepare for a performance and you get on stage and you do your performance and that's what you do. And I realized looking back that I never really allowed myself to really play when it came to music. It was the preparation and the, seriousness. And even like you get on stage and you have fun, of course, but like, it's the preparation and you perform and then you're done and all of that. But I never really allowed myself to play. So that's the energy that I was in on Friday's show. And then coming on, everything that I was, belting out last night, just allowing myself to just have fun and being in the moment. And I have been, becoming reacquainted with my musical roots the last couple of years. And this allowing myself to have fun is bringing a whole nother level of it. And it's allowing me to really enjoy and discover new things about myself. And I'll tell you, for those of you guys that love to sing, sometimes we sing and we think, oh, we can't hit that note or we can't. If you allow yourself to just do it, belt it out and have fun, you can hit more notes than you realize you could. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. So we've been having a lot of fun with that around here. And just, it's different. It's just allow yourself to have a good time. So enjoying that. That's bringing me a lot of joy this morning. I've got to tell you a couple national days that are going on, but I want to say hi to a couple of our friends that are out in the audience this morning. Miss Sharon is here. I love Air Supply too. Let me tell you something. And it's funny because I listen back and sometimes I'll listen to their music and it just hits you the range that they had. They'll start out like, low and then they're like 2 octaves higher the next verse. It's fantastic. So just so much talent and everything. Miss Judith is here this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, playing and fun is the way to go. Facebook user, I think this is Sherry because I saw Sherry comment yesterday and it came up as Facebook user and I don't know why, but Sherry, if that is you, good morning. If it's not Sherry, let me know who you are. I have no idea why it's doing that because usually StreamYard only does that in groups, but this is happening on a page. It's the weirdest thing. But good morning if that's you. And I'm excited to see you soon, my friend. Less than a month. Oh, it's Nicole. Nicole is here. I don't know why Facebook is doing this. Hi, Nicole. It is good to see you this morning. Let me know what's bringing you guys joy today. In National Days today, really quickly, there's a couple things. So I saw somebody ask on my Facebook feed this morning, what kind of music do you think of when you think of skateboarding? And for me, ska music came up. Bucko 9, Real Big Fish, Mighty Mighty Boss Stones. That's what I think of when I think of skateboarding. I think that's the early 90s speaking there. But I'm curious what everybody else, because I heard Avril Lavigne, that makes sense to me. There was something else somebody said that I was like, what? Fleetwood Mac, I think somebody said. I don't think of Fleetwood Mac when I think of skateboarding, but let me know. And then I find out that it is National Go Skateboarding Day. So let me know if you like to skateboard, if you know anybody that goes skateboarding. Get your snacks ready, because it's also National Peaches and Cream Day. I love peaches, and I'll tell you, that's the one thing I will miss. We just sold our home, and when we leave, we won't have it anymore, but we have a peach tree in the yard. Love peaches, especially in the South. They're just delicious and amazing. It's also National Seashell Day. It's the first day of summer, you guys. So that means that you can go out. The weather should be a little bit better to go gather some seashells. So let me know if you enjoy doing that. What else is going on today? It's National Selfie Day. So take a selfie, post it to social media, hashtag National Selfie Day. What else is going on? Oh, apparently it's also National Arizona Day, which is interesting because our guest today just moved from Arizona. So to anybody that's watching that's from Arizona, happy Arizona Day to you. Let's see. Butthole surfers, suicidal tendencies, and cramps. See, those are ones that I would think of with skateboarding as well. Judith said, joy for me is seeing Darius Rucker this Saturday. So I saw Hootie and the Blowfish back in the day, and so good. You're in for a treat. Darius Rucker is amazing. So definitely living through you for the joy on that, Miss Judith. We're going to take a quick break, you guys, and we'll be right back after this to continue our summer reading series with our special guest, Brian K. Wright. Don't go anywhere. Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com. Welcome back to Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Today is Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. I'm excited to continue our summer reading series this morning, not just with another fabulous author. He's also a ghostwriter, which is really exciting to hear about. And he is a past guest of the Breakthrough Show as well. He also helps people to birth their books into the world. And so I'm thrilled to have him here today. Without further ado, let us bring Brian K. Wright onto the show. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm just over here making love out of nothing at all. That's all.
Listen, it's a whole vibe when you get into that song, Brian.
Absolutely. And the whole Fleetwood Mac thing, I can explain that if you want me to. Remember
Yeah.
a year or two ago, there was a guy on a skateboard drinking ocean spray, and it was a viral video, and he was playing Dreams by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
that's where
because
the whole Fleetwood Mac thing comes from.
I
Yeah.
I was trying to add
Yeah.
it together, and I was like, I can't math this time.
And I think that week, Rumors returned to the top 10 on the Billboard chart for the first time in like almost 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
40 years. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where the whole Fleetwood Mac thing came along. But yeah, Barry Manilow, my jam. Air Supply, my jam. That's awesome.
See, I feel like, Brian, if you would have been singing along with me, we would have had a whole moment. It would have been wonderful.
And there's
Um,
nothing wrong with being at the Copacabana either.
Exactly. It's so funny because my daughter loves music, and I told her, I said, Barry Manilow really quintessential songwriting. I mean,
Mhm.
the every song takes you through a story,
Mhm.
every single song. So I had her listen to the New England, New England's A Weekend in New
Last
England.
night I waved goodbye.
Oh my God. It doesn't get any better than that. And so and
Yeah.
then I was like, Nina, every song, and
Mhm.
she's 15, and she's like, Mom, would
Yeah.
you please? And I was like, go listen to Copacabana.
Yeah.
Just do it.
And before he got his recording contract, he was a jingle writer. You knew that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, some of the most iconic jingles of all time still. I mean, McDonald's doesn't use, you deserve a break today anymore, but they use that for years.
Yeah.
State Farm, like a good neighbor, Barry Manilow wrote that.
It's incredible. I mean, I heard he's doing a whole thing in Vegas, and I was like, God, I wish I could get out there while he was doing it. Because
Yeah.
they played the little commercial when I was scrolling through Facebook one day, and looks like we made it.
Mhm.
The whole anyway.
I saw him back in 1984, my freshman year in college. It was great. It was his Paradise Cafe tour.
Oh my
That's
God.
a great album, by the way. 2 a.m. Paradise Cafe, slow jazz album. It was after all of his pop stuff. He was done doing the pop thing for a while.
Yeah.
And then he decided to start doing music in his favorite genres. He did that. Then he did a swing album. He did a swing album. He did a Sinatra album, big band album. Then he did all, the greatest hits of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. He just
Yeah.
did whatever he wanted because he's earned the right to do it.
Right. I loved when Summer of 78 came out. That was like,
Mhm.
I just love because it doesn't matter the song. Like you can tell it's obviously like this is Barry Manilow singing.
Mhm.
He is who he is. And I've
Mhm.
always appreciated that about
Yeah.
him. For sure. Sharon said she heard the song she just found. If I skateboarded, which I don't, I'd want to hear a song by Bruno Mars called Skate. I don't know that song, so I'm gonna have to go check that out.
Yeah.
I will check that out. So Brian, I'm really glad to have you back on the Breakthrough Show Network this morning. You were on the Breakthrough Show a couple seasons ago, a minute
Yep.
ago, before the craziness of the world happened in
Right.
2020. So things were different then, but fill everybody in, let everybody know where you're joining from and how you got into this world of authoring. Were you like 5 years old going, I can't wait to write a book? Like, what did that look like for you?
When you're a kid, you have all kinds of dreams about the things you want to be when you grow up.
Mm.
Being a writer was one of those things. Being a teacher was one of those things. Uh, I got to be both of those. I was a teacher in a college for several years. When I lived in Nebraska, I taught public speaking, English composition, and business math. And the commonality was those were all required courses. And so if you were a student in that school, which was a small school, I think the enrollment topped out at 450. There was a good chance that I had you in a class at least once before you graduated. It was a 2-year school.
I love that.
Yeah, so I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed writing even from a very young age. When I was in study hall in elementary school, I would write episodes for Lost in Space, which was one of my favorite shows growing up. I remember there were times in church where if I was fidgeting too much, Mom would just give me a notepad and say, "Here." Now most kids would draw and scribble. I would write.
I love that you kind of knew. Like for me, I was so hesitant to even start writing social media posts because I
Mhm.
remember back in school not ever being really told, oh, you're a great writer, or like I just never felt really uplifted when it came to writing. So I had to do the work, and I'm still feel like I'm doing the work of building
Mhm.
myself up to get there, to think of myself as a writer.
Mhm. Well, it's one of the hacks that I teach people is if they feel like they have a hard time writing, just do a Facebook Live, and like a 5-minute Facebook Live on something, get it transcribed, and then just touch it up.
Yeah.
That can be a magazine article. That can be a blog entry. That can be a long form social media post.
Yeah.
But
I
you
mean,
can
that's a
repurpose
great
that.
idea. Somebody
Yeah.
gave me that tip because I've been working on I've been working on a certain book for a couple of years now.
Mhm.
And I felt very stuck, but it's also a very personal book for me. And I know you recently came out with two books, one
Mhm.
about conversations with your mom and conversations with your dad.
Yeah.
And so did you feel, because I feel such an emotional connection to it because I'm kind of telling other people's stories too, and I
Mhm.
want to honor them, and I'm scared and all of these. Did you feel
Mhm.
that as well going through that?
Yeah, I did. And the whole idea behind the greatest lessons I learned from my dad is that he passed away last year in February.
Mm,
And I wanted to honor him somehow,
yeah.
but only when I was ready. And about 6 months later, I felt like I was ready. And I thought, I bet other people would love to tell their dad stories too. Maybe people have gone through similar things.
Yeah.
So I just put it out there in my Facebook group, Authorpreneur Live. I said, I'm doing this book. If you want to, contribute, here are the parameters. This is, the small nominal chip-in amount, and you all get a few copies for yourselves.
Yeah.
And people loved it. I had 28 people join that project. And I did the same thing again for the Grace Lessons I learned from my mom. And that came out about 6 or 7 weeks ago. It came out in early May.
Yeah.
And so people were very anxious to tell their mom stories too. And so it was fun. And the Greatest Lessons is now a series. In
Mm,
fact, the Greatest Lessons I Learned from Being an Entrepreneur, Volume 1 is scheduled to come out in early July. And then Volume 2 and Volume 3 will come out in August and September. That's the goal right now. So,
yeah.
and I'm involving other people. I'm sharing my stories and I'm involving other people and they're chipping in. And it gives other people a chance to be published if they haven't. Now, of course, the caveat to that is if people are involved in enough of these, I may swing back around and say, how do you feel about doing your own book by yourself? And
Mm,
would you like help?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're great. You're great at that. To
Thank
be
you.
fair, it's what you do. And your author life, your the author part of what you do for work takes on several different forms. So you
Mhm,
have a magazine.
mhm.
You also you've written books. You're also a ghostwriter,
Yep.
and you also help other people write their own books. Is there
Mhm.
anything that takes more priority over another, or how did it become so multifaceted?
I added one pillar at a time. I didn't try and do all of it at once. A lot of people talk about having multiple streams of income and starting all these businesses. The
Yeah,
fallacy is they try and do it all at once and they don't do any of it very well.
yeah.
So start one thing, get good at it. And for me, that was the radio show, Success Profiles
Mm,
Radio. That's over 10 years old now. And about 4 years into it, I realized, it would be a really good idea to repurpose some of this content into another form. And so I decided to start a magazine. I bought the domain for successprofilesmagazine.com and I didn't do it right away. In
mm.
fact, when I renewed it for the third year, I realized, I'm that guy that's been talking about doing it forever and never having done it. So I thought, okay, I have to, I must. It's not should anymore. Now it's I must.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I had interviewed Kevin Harrington 6 months before. I reached out to him. I said, I'm doing a new thing. I'd like to have you be the first cover. You don't have to do anything new. We'll just use the interview that we already did. I'll just take part of that. And all I just need are some fantastic photos. And he says, I'm in.
Yeah.
So, and I got to show the physical version of that magazine to him in person at an event that he was speaking at.
Mm.
And he said, is it okay if I hold this up during my talk? I'm like, yeah, of course. So he held that
No,
magazine.
no, you can't,
Yeah.
Kevin.
He held that up in front of 150 people and his Instagram account posted a picture of that. Of course, I had to reshare that.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I mean, you've interviewed amazing people, Kevin Harrington being one of them. Also, I
Mhm.
saw Hal Elrod amongst other
Mhm.
people.
Mhm.
Did you ever in reaching out to them feel like have that kind of imposter syndrome of going like who am I to talk to these people?
Yeah, I had that a few times.
Yeah.
And in fact, I don't really feel that way anymore. Now
Mm,
it's more about figuring out why would they want to be on my show? So
mm,
what value can I provide? What can I do for them in exchange for this? I mean, they're doing me a favor, but if I'm reaching out to them at a time where they're releasing a book, I'm doing them a favor too.
right. Right. That's a
Share their
great way to
message.
think about it. How
Mhm.
are you serving? Because I think to be fair, I think a lot of people will have a show and they either won't ever reach out or they'll reach out with thinking with the mindset of get these people on my show.
Mhm.
Like get these people on my show and not like how can I serve them? What's the value that I'm bringing to them as well?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. You have to bring value.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah,
I
because it's an hour. I mean, the
right.
higher up they go, the busier they are. And so an hour is a huge commitment.
Yeah. Yeah. It
So
really is.
why would someone want to spend an hour with me?
Yeah. I mean,
But yeah,
it's a good point, something to think about, I think for sure. I you're good at the volumes. You mentioned you're doing volumes as well. You had a success profiles book, and then you have a second one. Is there a third one? I don't think there's a third one, right?
not
Or is
yet. Not yet,
it's
but that
coming?
is on the future docket.
I love it. I love those
Yeah.
books because they
Mhm.
just give you these little snippets, little stories that are really the keys to being successful.
Yeah.
And so there's these moments in there where you have these little breakthrough moments. We love the
Yeah.
breakthrough moments here, and going,
Yeah.
oh, like that's something to think about.
Yeah. Success profiles, conversations with high achievers. And then there's also a volume two.
Yeah. How many books do you have total, Brian?
I have 6.
Six. I see. I could have sworn there was more than that. But then you've been a ghostwriter too. Do you know how
Mhm.
many of those you've done?
I haven't counted. I think I've had my hand in at least a couple dozen.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the difference between authoring your own book and ghostwriting?
When I'm ghostwriting for someone, I have to pull their ideas out of their own head.
Hmm.
And sometimes they think, oh, is this important? Yes, this is actually a really integral part of the story.
Yeah. Yeah. What does the process look like for that when you're ghostwriting for someone? Do you have several meetings?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We have several meetings. We talk about where the book is going to go, what direction it's going to go in. We figure out a structure and outline the stories. And we do some recorded interviews.
Yeah.
And that's what I have to start with.
Mm. Why would someone want to ghostwrite something instead of writing it themselves? Like, do you feel like it's like a lack of confidence or knowledge, or what is it that usually brings people to you for the ghostwriting?
I find there are several reasons. Number one, people sometimes don't think they have a valid message. And so they just never start.
Mm,
They think they want to do a book someday. And in the course of talking with them, I'll say, you know what, that actually would make a really great book. You know,
yeah,
they talk about starting a business and overcoming all the stuff they went through. Yes, someone needs to hear that story.
yeah,
So, not sure if they have a message or not. That's one reason why people don't. Some people don't think they're great writers. They don't think they're good enough writers. Well, you know what? If you're working with a professional, it doesn't matter. Robert Kiyosaki calls himself a best selling author, not a best writing author.
right, right.
And then finally, some people just don't have time. They can,
Mm,
but they don't want to.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I can relate to that too. Like I said, I've been working on my book for a couple of years now. But I mean, I think there's also there's so many things, like you said, those different beliefs and things that come up for us when we're writing books. How do you help when you're helping someone put their book into the world? Like, how do you help them through some of those things that come up?
Well, we certainly talk through them. And I think one of the biggest things that I keep pointing people to is, why are you doing this?
Mhm.
Who are you helping? The people that need you don't get to experience you if you sit on it and don't ever do anything with it.
Right. Right. I want to ask you something that it might be a little bit of a controversial topic, because
Mhm.
I had seen a couple people talking about, they also help people write books. And I've seen them say, if you're not writing a book with a next step in mind, like you have a course, you have a program, you have a whatever coming out after, then there's really no reason for you to write a book. And I I mean, my thought is sometimes there's just a story to share.
Yeah.
Sometimes there might not be a next thing. What's your thoughts on that?
I work with entrepreneurs, and so they usually do have a next step.
Right.
And if they don't, or they say to me, I never thought of that. Well, use the book as the entry point. It's not the end. Reading the book is not the end of their journey with you. It should be the beginning
Hmm.
of something else. You notice how a lot of authors at the ends of their books, they may say, if you want to hire me to speak, here's the contact information. Or if
Right.
you want to look at the course that I kind of mentioned in the book a few times, here's where you can go. Or if you
Hmm.
want to buy these other books that I've already written, here's a way to continue your journey with me. So I
Right.
advocate that you should have a next step if you have one. But if you don't have one, that shouldn't be a reason to not write a book.
Right.
Sometimes it is just the journey. And that's
Right.
good enough. If you don't really have a business associated with it and it's a passion project and it's a legacy item, that's great. But at the same time, don't expect to sell millions and millions of copies unless you're super famous or have a huge following.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
I
average book
mean,
sells about 250 copies in its lifetime ever. That's the average book. So you're taking into account, you're factoring in all the people that do sell hundreds of thousands or millions of copies, and you're factoring in the people that might have sold 10 or 15 to just their family and friends.
right. Right. I mean, to be fair, people think the same thing about podcasting.
Sure.
They'll come into doing a show and they'll think that, oh, I'm going to have 1 million downloads tomorrow. And I'm like, they'll be like, well, Joe Rogan does it. Well, Joe Rogan had things going on before he ever had a podcast.
Joe Rogan was famous before he had a podcast. He was
Right.
an actor. He was on television co-hosting UFC events.
Yeah.
A lot of people knew who Joe Rogan was before his podcast.
Yeah.
And he's
Very
polarizing
true.
enough that he brings in a huge viewership.
Right. And some people are not ready to be that polarizing.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some people just don't know what to do with someone like a Joe Rogan. The sunlight is coming in.
You're glowing. It's okay.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he might say on one hand that he voted for Bernie Sanders, which I believe he did. And on the other hand, he's talking about how he thinks this whole COVID thing was just a load of crap. I mean, one point of view leans left and the other point of view leans to what a lot of people in the right are saying. So, I mean, he is a free thinker and a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
But he attracts a huge, huge audience because he is a free thinker.
I mean, it's one of those things where I think to bring up Scott Mason again, he was talking about haters recently and not being afraid of that because those are the things that draw that line in the sand. They either like you or they don't. And if they don't, they're still going to show up and tell you they don't like you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't mind when people want to, have a discussion about what I'm doing. I mean, I had a social media post, which was not controversial at all. I didn't think. And the post was, don't expect you from other people. And somebody wanted to, I guess, have a discussion about it and kind of rip it apart a little bit. And I made one response and she responded again. I'm like, I don't have time for this. So I just didn't continue. And then somebody else, God bless them, decided to continue. And they went back and forth all day long. I'm like, y'all know that this was not the point of the post, right? I didn't say that, but I'm like, God bless you both.
I mean, I guess everybody's entertained by different things. And it's funny because I was mentioning the other day, I tend to be a scroll on by person. If I see something I don't like, I do not have time for this nonsense. And, but the other day there was something that I had seen this person post several times and it was very demeaning. And I was just like, and I don't even have to say anything mean. I could just share my opinion and move on. And there were so many, I was glad in the end that I said something because there were so many people that were feeling the same way that I was and never said a word. At all. And so it's nice to kind of share that space. But even so, I never went back and responded to anything else. I was just kind of like, I'm sharing my thoughts and I'm moving on with my day.
Hide post, snooze for 30 days, unfollow. These are all your friends.
Exactly.
These tools are your friends. Use them.
You have control, people.
Yeah. If you don't want to see it in your feed, you can do that. You can fix that.
Yeah. Yeah. So knowing that the average sales for a book is 250 copies. I mean, and there's a lot of us, I think, that are writing books with a big vision. We want to change the world. We want to do it. Is there any reason to feel discouraged by that number? And my second part of the question is there anything you feel like we can do to help us get things out there even more to the world?
Social media is free to use and you can just promote your book. I mean, gosh, you've probably seen me promote some of my Conversations with High Achievers books. I would do a Facebook Live every day for about 3 weeks about one idea and one chapter. And I would pick a new idea in a different chapter every day. And when I was done, I would go back to chapter 1 and pick a different idea that I didn't talk about the first time and do that. I kept a book going for 3 weeks because I just did it every day. And after a while, I kind of got tired of doing it. It's like, it's time to move on to something else. But, otherwise, just put it out there, do posts. I mean, I have a VA now and she does marketing memes. And so I sent her several pictures I sent her the chapter titles because she laid out the book, and she made memes with one of the pictures, one of the chapter titles, and then a mock-up of the cover of the book in one of the corners. And she mocked up like 7 of those. I routinely post those. I was posting those every day for a week or two. And now I still periodically will post those.
Mm.
And then in the comments say, by the way, if you haven't read the book, here's where you can buy it. Or I have some in stock. Order them directly from me and I'll sign and send it to you.
Yeah. I mean, a book really is the gift that keeps on giving, truly, because it's not just, I think even if we go back to the other question I asked you about having the something after a program, a service, whatever, after, even if you don't have that, you still have, if you're only promoting this book and that's all you have social media posts you can do live videos, you can do interviews every year. When the anniversary of when my books have come out, I've done something on that day, a little like, bring it back front of mind. So I feel like there's always something to do, and it is that gift that keeps giving. It doesn't, it only dies out if you allow it to, really.
Right. And, especially with books like The Greatest Lessons I Learned from My Dad and The Greatest Lessons I Learned from My Mom, that's a universal thing.
Yeah.
Most people can relate to that.
Yeah. 100. Well, I'm excited to get those ones because the book that I'm writing is stories about my grandparents. And so it'll be a nice little thing to all go together as well. Is there anything that if people are feeling stuck with going like, oh, I have an idea or I started my book and I can't finish, there's some people, that've been sitting on their book for a couple of years. If they're feeling stuck, like what do you usually tell them to get out of that stuckness?
You know what? Sometimes what I do is I will go back and reread that from the beginning to see what I've done. Sometimes it's like, a slingshot. You pull the slingshot all the way back, and then when you let it go, it flies.
Yeah.
So if you slingshot yourself back to the beginning of the book and just read what you've written so far, you might get ideas about things maybe you want to change, or you might get ideas about things that you now want to say. Because life has happened since you left it alone and didn't do anything with it for a while. And so now maybe you have a brand new, fresh perspective on your topic.
Right. That's a great idea. So, and I'm one that I do that a lot. I constantly reread what I've written and try to see, okay, well, where could it go? And then I'll get to the end and I'll see it's like that fork in the road. And it's like, okay, I could go this way or I could go this way. Which way do I want this to go?
Yeah. And for me, because I used to teach English because I'm a writer, it's hard for me to go back and reread my own stuff without internally editing it. Even if the book is out, it's like I might find something that I wish I would have said differently. I'm like, stop, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Famous musicians who get, asked, you go back and listen to your old albums. Elton John has routinely said, no, not really. I don't need to. I perform those songs every night. And now I understand. It's like, because now you're constantly going back and saying, oh, I wish I would have done that differently. Well, when you're doing a concert, you can fix that by performing it differently in live shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me know if anybody has any questions for Brian as we are closing up our conversation here. I know we want people to go visit writeabookforyou.com. Love that URL. I always have an entrepreneur moment when people have really good URLs because they're not always easy to get.
No, in fact, I wanted a different URL that I thought of first. I was having a call with my coach and he's like, and I said, that's not available. And so he said, just hang on for a second. Because I said, what if I bought that URL with a .us or a .co? And he's like, no, don't. Just wait a minute. And he found this. I said, I cannot believe this is available.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I cannot believe that domain was available. So I bought it up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame you at all. So writeabookforyou.com. You can learn a little bit about Brian. I love the photos that you had taken, by the way. It's like the Superman of books.
Yep.
I love it.
That was very intentional.
Yes. What can they find when they go to writeabookforyou.com, Brian?
They can learn a little bit about my process. They can see testimonials from people that I've worked with successfully. And at the very bottom, there's a segment, a clip of a segment from The List that I was on, nationally syndicated TV show. It's like 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And that clip is about 3 things you can do to get started writing your book. And there it is. Tip to self-publish. That's from The List. Awesome. A beginner's guide to writing your first book. So if you go to YouTube, or you can click on that and watch it right there. Or if you are on YouTube, just type in Brian K. Wright, The List. And that's the thumbnail you're going to see. And just click on that video and watch it.
Awesome. Well, I know, listen, I appreciate the work that you do in the world because it's not easy there's so many people that feel like I have a story to tell. They
Hmm.
don't know how to get started. They don't know how to continue
Right.
the process of actually writing a book and then editing and publishing and all that seems very daunting. So they just
Hmm.
get stuck and then those stories don't get out there. And we know from everything that we share on the Breakthrough Show Network that storytelling, I feel, is essential to our growth. And
Hmm.
everybody likes a story. Nobody likes anybody wagging a finger in the face. And this is what you have to do with your life, Brian.
Right.
I love it. I love it. How has storytelling changed your life?
Wow. It's a chance to share your experiences, and it's a chance to share something that can help somebody else. Now, a lot of people, when they tell stories, think about people on stage.
Hmm.
There are those speakers who will share the stories as if they are the hero in all of their stories. That's not relatable. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear about the train wreck that got you to where you are now, because we all are living our own versions of a train wreck. It's a beautiful life, don't get me wrong, but we all went through stuff to get us to where we are now.
Right.
And if you're sharing your story as if nothing has ever gone wrong, you're not believable. It's like, I can never
100%.
be like you. I can't listen to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't relate. And if someone is saying to you, I can't relate, you've lost your audience. So storytelling is a very powerful way to get your message out. And if you're not afraid of sharing the stuff you've been through, you're going to connect even more, connect emotionally with people. Don't just connect logically, but connect emotionally with people. Make people feel things. That's your opportunity to make people feel things. Ed Milet is one of the best speakers I've ever heard, and he does that brilliantly.
Mm. I love it. I love it. Well, you always make me feel things like I need to get moving on my book when I talk to you.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Do it.
I love it. I love it. Well, I mean, I think it's symbolic that we're moving back to where I grew up, and that's where the home of all these stories take place. So I
Yeah.
almost feel like this
Yeah.
is going to be that thing that puts me in
Yeah.
that whole vibe to
I just
finish
did that
it
2
up.
weeks ago. I moved back home.
Yeah.
I'm back in Iowa after
Yeah.
living in Arizona for 26 years. I don't miss 110 degrees plus. I don't miss that at all. I'll probably miss it in the winter when it's 70 or
Right.
so degrees, but it's okay. You enjoy the seasons, and we have the seasons here in Iowa.
Yeah.
So I'm back in the small town that I grew up in, and I'm happy. It was absolutely the right move.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure if you read the books there that you
Mhm.
just put out, the stories of your mom and the stories of your dad, that it even takes on a new feeling, a new meaning
Mhm.
when you're in that place, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. I love it.
And
Well, we want you
yeah.
guys to visit writeabookforyou.com. Make sure you check that out. Learn how you can work with Brian. And you always have such amazing tips. There's YouTube videos. I know Brian's done several interviews and he has the magazine. There's so many ways that you can connect with him. I appreciate you being here this morning, my friend. It's good to see you again.
Great to see you too. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. All right, you guys, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back after this to close up the show. Don't go anywhere.
Imagine a world where every child gets a great education. Educating all children is the only way to end poverty. This is what the Weiss Scholarship Foundation is working to accomplish. Our 6 staff members, our mentors and coordinators, who are on the ground in Kenya, are totally engaged in every aspect of our students' lives, so we can give them every opportunity for success. In just a few short years, we have already awarded 141 scholarships. We send children to high school who would have never gone without our support. And then we help them go on to either university or vocational school. We have already scaled our holistic business model to 4 locations and are ready to scale it to many more. Today it's Kenya, but tomorrow it's more countries. Please contribute what you can today. You can make a one-time donation, a recurring donation, or choose to sponsor a child all on your own for all 4 years of high school for just $3,500. Go to our website, www.weissscholarshipfoundation.org.
Thanks for watching the Breakthrough Show Network. Today, we'd like to support our friend over at Nail Beauty by Brittany. Purchase your custom press-on Reiki-infused nails by visiting nailbeautybybrittany.com. Don't forget your discount by using the code BREAKTHROUGH. And now, back to the show. Welcome back to Project Joy Live. Today is Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. I'm so thankful that Brian came back with us today. Been a couple of years since he was on the Breakthrough Show Network. And, you know, one of the things that I really love about Brian is that he is who he is. He has taken this knowledge and love that he has for writing, and he's perfected it. And he's still allowing himself to grow. It's become so many different facets of his business. And one of the things that I've seen, and to be fair, I've had this challenge as well in my own business. I'm passionate about so many things, and it can be challenging for me to be like, okay, but what's that one thing? And in fact, I don't really allow myself to do that because I feel like I would just implode. But I love that he's there's so many things he's passionate about, but centered around that writing. And so, the ghost writing, the helping other people with their books, writing himself a magazine, and then a show, because even with his podcast, Success Profiles Radio, even that involves writing and prep and a lot of that stuff. So everything is centered around it. And it's beautiful to see somebody who has these different facets but a common theme, and like, this is who he is. And to be frank, people are starting to know me as, doing the show and everything else, which is great to see. But a couple of years ago, it was challenging for me because I loved so many different things. And it was hard for people to be like, okay, what exactly is she doing? With Brian, it's clear. And I definitely want you to go check out his work. Visit him at writeabookforyou.com, because it's just amazing. And also get your copies of his books as well, because great reads. I love that one that I mentioned, Success Profiles, the Conversations with High Achievers. Entrepreneurs, there's no, like, you have to have that book. You must have that book in your library, for sure. All right, you guys, we got to get to our birthdays this morning, which I'm excited about, as always, because of course I mentioned we've got the 2 birthdays going along here. The birthday girls. We'll see. Girls, do you want to come in so we can sing happy birthday to you? I hear little beats. They might be coming. Okay, while we're waiting for them, we have another breakthrough alumni. Come on over. Another breakthrough alumni, Kathy Smith Dwyer's birthday is today. Happy birthday, Kathy. Did you know you shared a birthday with my friend Kathy? She didn't know that. This is Jazzy, and it's her birthday today. Where's Leah? Oh, she's coming. Here comes the other birthday girl. Leah's here too. Okay. Who else has a birthday today? In the celebrity world, Leah, you love dinosaurs, right? Yeah. Okay. Do you know the character in the Jurassic World movies that works with the raptors? No. The guy that he makes friends with the raptors? His name is Chris Pratt, and his birthday is today. His birthday is today too. Okay. Also, Lana Del Rey's birthday is today. Prince William and Rebecca Black's birthday is today as well. Are you guys ready? We're going to do our birthday song. Okay. Do you want to hear our song? Okay, here we go. This is very exciting. Here we go. Drum roll, please. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kathy Smith Dwyer, Chris Pratt, Lana Del Rey, Prince William, Rebecca Black, Jaslyn, and Leah. Happy birthday to you. Yes. Happy birthday, girls. You want to see our birthday song? You want to see it? Here we go. Yes. Happy birthday. Are we going to have fun today, girls? Yes. Mr. Jackson said, happy birthday, Jazzy. Happy birthday, Leah. Clapping, party emoji. Look at all the party emojis he put for you. It's so many. So many. All right, you guys, I hope you have a great day. Celebrate, even if it's not your birthday. We want you to celebrate every day. Could people come over for cake tonight? Sure. Okay. You guys
Yeah.
can come over for cake
My
tonight.
friends.
I see that. All right, you guys have a great day. Miss Sharon says happy birthday, Jazzy and Leah. She loves your smiles. And we thank you guys for being here today. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. We'll be back tomorrow with another summer reading series author. So don't miss that. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget to make joy a priority in your life today and every day. See you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. You've been tuned in to Project Joy Live with Jessica Dugas, your weekday morning talk show, inviting you to start your day with a triple shot of good vibes only on the Breakthrough Show Network. Binge all past episodes of Project Joy at projectjoypodcast.com. Until next time, help us spread the joy by sharing this episode, and we'll see you soon.